Hello, everybody, to those who have just joined. Welcome to this live session of. So we would this time this Instagram live session is about dark spots and pigmentation disorders. So this is a live dual live between Mfine as well as this Kaya Skin Clinic. Um, I hope my voice is audible, and we shall soon have our esteemed specialist online. Uh, just a second.
Hello. Doctor, can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi, Doctor.
Hello,
Welcome to this
everyone.
live session. Yes. So, to everyone who has just joined, I would like to make a small introduction. So, the skin is a very important part of the body and the largest organ too in the body. And today we'll be discussing issues and problems related to dark spots and pigmentation. We have with us our esteemed specialist, Dr. Preeti Kothari, who's a dermatologist with the Kaya Skin Clinic. And she's a dermatologist with seven years of experience and primary expertise and specialization in aesthetic dermatology. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Can you hear me? I think there is a
Yeah, I
slight
can hear
lag.
you.
Yeah, there's a slight lag in your video.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. I can see you. That's all right. Before we go forward, Doctor, could you please give a little bit of your insight on what we're going to talk today and about pigmentation disorders or dark spots on the whole?
Sure. So pigmentation is basically an excessive production of melanin. Now, what is melanin? Melanin is this cell in your skin which gives it its color. Now, sometimes what happens is there is excess production on certain areas, so you start seeing patches. And of course, it does not let your skin look one even tone. So, why this pigmentation occurs? If it does, there are different types of pigmentations. What are those various types? And how to treat them is basically what we'll be discussing today. And I'm happy to
Right.
answer whatever questions or concerns everyone has.
All right, doctor. So a little bit before we move forward, I would like to say that we have had a session before on acne and hair fall issues, and this particular session will be primarily concerned with pigmentation issues like dark spots on the face or dark areas anywhere else in the body, dark circles, dark lips, and things like that. So we will start moving on to live queries as of now. So one of the users. So we will let's talk about a few general tips because we have to get acne and hair fall out of the way. So somebody has already asked a question. Mommy with two has asked this question. Please tell me about hair fall, including food tips.
Okay, so as you grow older, you are going to experience more and more hair fall. Even like because she's a mother, after going through pregnancy, also your body is going through so many changes. So I'm glad that they mentioned that I should mention food tips because your nutrition plays a very big role in controlling your hair fall. A lot of times our diet is not complete in the sense of the nourishment that our hair needs. So most important, you have to focus on your vitamins. Now, which are these vitamins which are necessary for your hair? Vitamin A, B, especially biotin, vitamin C, all your vitamin A comes from your sweet potatoes, carrots, and your vitamin C will come from all your citric fruits like oranges, lemon, and so on. You have to make sure you're putting a good amount of protein in your diet, which has your nuts and your dal, beans, fish, eggs, most importantly eggs if you're non-vegetarian. That really helps your hair. So food wise, you have to make sure that your vitamins, minerals like iron and zinc, these are going in good quantity so that your hair gets the nourishment that it needs. Once it is well nourished because of these things, you will see that your hair fall has reduced quite a lot. Now, since she specifically asked about foods, I've elaborated. But other things that you should do to avoid your hair fall would be to not do a lot of chemical treatments, blow dryers, curling, all of that. You should keep it to the minimal, and you should also make sure that if you're using in some products, as far as possible, they have lower chemical compounds like ammonia, peroxides, which are harmful for your hair.
Yes, doctor.
And then, of course, if you're still having hair fall, there are a lot of treatments that you can do. There's PRP, physiotherapy, and a lot of other treatments that you must see a dermatologist for, and she'll be able to guide you much better. She or he can guide you much better, particularly for your particular concern.
All right. Thank you, doctor, for answering that. May I add a little bit over here that, because most of us do get, on MFine, we get a lot of patients coming with hair fall issues, and most of them, let their confidence go within 1 month of treatment. So, one thing you need to understand is that treating hair fall takes time, over 8 weeks, sometimes over 12 weeks. And it is very important to just stick to your dermatologist's advice and especially not try random home remedies.
Exactly. Most treatments, in fact, that we would advise as a dermatologist for hair fall is never going to be less than 3 to 6 months. You'd be like, okay,
Yes,
start this for 3 months and then we see. But it usually goes on for 6 months and much beyond. So you have, as you rightly mentioned, you have to be very patient with your hair and you have to be at it.
Yes, doctor. Yes. So we'll move on to the next question. So somebody has asked about so this is like the target aim. Can you hear me, doctor?
Yeah.
I think there's a slight internet issue on your side because it stops in between. So if you can hear me, Nav Guri Dhami has asked, pigmentation and I have pimple marks on my face. So basically they're talking about post-inflammatory pigmentation, I guess, hyperpigmentation on their face. So what would be your suggestions to reduce the pigmentation as well as to get it treated from a dermatologist?
So there are PIH, as like rightly mentioned, a lot of people don't even know what PIH is. Post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is nothing but like a brown spot or a slightly darker colored skin spot that is left behind on your skin after the primary condition. That may be acne, that might be a skin injury, it could be a burn, anything that has gone off, but it's left that mark now. So now if you have acne and you have the marks, which most of people will have hand in hand, you have to make sure that you're doing a treatment which is affecting both. It is going to treat your acne plus it is going to treat your marks. There might be creams which are different to treat both, but the cause has to be controlled because if you keep breaking out, you'll keep getting new spots. Now coming to how exactly you treat this cause, there are a lot of products in the market, right from your AHAs, your glycolic acids, there's ferulic acid, mandelic acid, there's azelaic acid, there are lycoric extracts. There is just so many products in the market, but which one will suit your skin? It differs from person to person. The amount of acne you have differs from person to person. So it is very necessary that you see a dermatologist who will guide you out of all of these. Which one can help you best to reduce that PIH, to reduce that mark? Also, like retinoids, people are well aware of retinoids, or at least they've heard of the word retinoids, that they help beautifully in treating acne. They'll also help to reduce the marks for to a particular extent. So you should not self-medicate these things. It's very necessary that you go to a dermatologist so that she can advise you the perfect ointment or the cream for your skin. Also, not only creams, but there are also other treatments like peels, lasers like a Q-switch Nd:YAG laser. These are some of the other treatment modalities that can be effectively used to reduce your pigmentation or your marks of acne. But again, please make sure that you follow the right path and consult a dermatologist.
Yes, that's absolutely right, doctors. We've got a lot of cases where we get patients who say, my friend tried this, but then it got worse for me. And one of the main things... Yes, exactly. That isn't for you. If it's not suiting your skin, it is best that, because most skin treatments are usually tried, tested, trial and error, and what suits best for you is usually collated well by a dermatologist and not by your friends. So that would be all for this. Let's move on to the next question. Anshika Gupta asks, phototherapy causes permanent or temporary pigmentation?
So that is not true. Ideally, phototherapy should not cause any permanent or even temporary pigmentation. Yes, I will not deny that there have been cases, maybe some cases which have been reported, but maybe something went wrong and something was not followed properly. For example, the doctor, hear me? Is there a lag?
Doctor, we lost you in between. Yes, we lost you over the past few seconds.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. So I was saying, phototherapy should not necessarily, most of the times, in fact, 99% of the time, cause any pigmentation if done rightly. And also, what is very important is the aftercare. There are a lot of aftercares after every treatment that you do, and more often people forget the aftercare. They feel that they've done the treatment and we are sorted. But the aftercare, like application of sunscreen the right quantity, that is more than half teaspoon for your face, twice to thrice in the daytime. All of this is very important, which is neglected. So after a treatment, sometimes the skin is sensitive, so you have to make sure you're protecting it, which most
Yes.
dermatologists will guide you after your treatment, that this is what you have to do at home. After your treatment, don't do this, don't do that, and all of that. But sometimes patients fail to do that, which could cause such untoward effects.
Yes, doctor. I totally agree with what you said, because I think patient adherence is one of the most or key important aspects in the right treatment plan, as well as following through with it. Because some of them do not follow through with just washing face twice a day. So if you have a particular set of conditions for them, then it is something that they need to follow, like by the rule book, in order to get it better, get themselves treated better. We'll move on to the next question. Okay, so there's a person, Aish24, who's asked, please can you help me to get rid of armpit darkness?
So coming to armpit darkness, because I cannot see your particular armpits, I'm just going to talk about a lot of armpit darkness in general. So now armpit darkness can be because of many reasons. It could be just genuine pigmentation. It could be because of waxing. You're not using a wax that is suiting you. It could be because of the hair follicles, because maybe you have dark, coarser, thicker hair follicles, and there is a lot of melanin in that area. And one of the very other known common factors is acanthosis nigricans. Now, a lot of people feel that acanthosis nigricans is just some pigmentation. No, it is a deeper skin condition. These are velvety, dark, almost black, brownish to black color looking patches on your armpits. They also can occur at the nape of your neck and sometimes in the groin. So you have to see a dermatologist who can tell you that no, it could even be a PIH, right? You could have got a boil because of shaving on your underarm, and you could have just got multiple boils and there is pigmentation. So you need to show your skin condition to a dermatologist so that she can tell you which of these it is, and then based on what the diagnosis is. For example, if it is acanthosis, she has to make sure to check your metabolic side of it, because acanthosis is sometimes related to family diabetes, or if the patient has diabetes and other genetic issues, lipid, cholesterol, obesity. So if these reasons are causing that acanthosis nigricans and you're just doing some treatment, trying some cream, it's not going to help. You need to see a dermatologist who will tell you that, okay, this is why you're getting it. You reduce your weight, get your diabetes checked, get it under control, and so on. Just similarly, like for acanthosis nigricans, every other reason why you could have that armpit darkening could be because of a particular thing, and we need to attack the cause.
Right, doctor. That's absolutely right, because acanthosis nigricans is something that is primarily seen also in skin folds, especially if you're obese, and since obesity is also a direct risk factor for diabetes. These two things, as well as PCOS. So all these things, there might be a combination of these metabolic disorders that need to be treated along with just armpit darkness. And moreover, like you said, repeated waxing with wax that does not suit, as well as repeated shaving and things, basically anything that can irritate that area and cause an increase in melanin production leads to this armpit darkness. So in case you have this issue, you will have to reach out to a dermatologist and do not try to get it treated yourself. So let's move on to the next question. So there are a lot of questions coming in on acne scars. So I'm just gonna collate them together and just ask. So Divya has asked, AHA and BHA are not working. No home remedies are working with my acne scars. Moreover, I have pigmentation in certain areas. How do I reduce this problem? And then there's somebody else who's asked, what is the best treatment options for acne scars?
Okay, so somebody also mentioned AHA and BHA. For other people who don't know what that is, they are alpha hydroxy acids and beta hydroxy acids, namely glycolic acid, lactic acid, which are AHAs, BHAs like salicylic acid. Now, all of these are known to reduce acne and PIH caused because of the acne. Yes, like this, whoever has asked us the question, she has mentioned that it's not working out for her. So maybe we have to try something else. On the top of it, what I would recommend for the other person who's asked about acne scars, start with the most basics. At least make sure that you're putting your sunscreen twice a day in the morning and afternoon. Specifically for your scars, you can use an azelaic acid based cream, a kojic acid based cream, or also vitamin C serum. Vitamin C serum, because somebody also said that she has pigmentation roughly around the face. So vitamin C serum is very safe, and when applied on the full face, it can help to clear out your general skin tone also. And of course, if you have marks or blemishes, it will help that out also. So I've given 2-3 molecules that must help, but of course, you must see a dermatologist if nothing is working for you, and to get more customized treatment specifically for you and your skin.
Yes, doctor. Doctor, there's somebody, Sahil Dhandia, who he says, Doctor, hi, Dr. Preeti, still so grateful to you for the work you did for the scars on my face. So I guess.
Thank you so much, Sahil.
So yes, like you said, doctor, of course, these things
Brought up. Also, a lot of people don't know the difference between blemishes or marks and scars. So,
right.
marks or PIH is very different from acne scars. When you have PIH or acne marks or spots, that is just a flat lesion that is a brown color on your skin. But when you are calling it an acne scar, usually we are talking about the spits. Like, how people sometimes have a lot of the spits. These spits are called acne scars. So they are two different things, and they are two different treatments.
Right, doctor. That's absolutely right. I think it was very important that we mentioned this at this point. So that's the reason why we dealt with PIH as well as acne scars differently in this question answer session. So so I think on the whole, if your acne scars, if creams aren't working, if things like that aren't working, so it's a step-by-step approach. You might need procedures.
The treatment we were discussing were for the spots and the marks and the blemishes and the PIH of the acne. If you're talking about acne scars treatment, the people who are asking about scars, if they are specifically asking about the pits, we need to do treatments like derma roller, PRP, certain CO2 fractional lasers, and other treatments which will help you with your scars. Most of the times, yes, there are some creams, but they will not help you drastically in scars. So for scars, little more aggression is needed, where physically a dermatologist might have to do a procedure on your skin.
Yes, absolutely, doctor. That would sum up the treatment of acne scars. Let's move on to the next question. I think there's another common question that people are asking around. This is with respect to blackheads. So, what is the reason of for the occurrence of blackheads and best way to remove blackheads?
So blackheads are mainly caused by accumulation of sebum and other keratinaceous substances produced by your skin, which get stuck and clogged into your pores. Now, blackheads usually will occur more on oily skin type, and they are also part of your acne issue. So if you have a lot of blackheads and you're not getting your face clear of blackheads, especially in the younger age groups, you might even break out a lot. And you might be wondering that, in spite of putting these creams, you're getting new ones. So also very necessary to check that if you have blackheads and whiteheads, it's necessary to get rid of them. I will tell you how, of course. There are again multiple treatments. The most simple being using steam and extraction. That is a cleanup that a lot of dermatology clinics will provide. Again, I would stress on the fact that rather than going to a salon, it's better to get a cleanup done at a dermatologist, because they know the difference between your blackhead and your whitehead. It appears very easy. It feels like it's just supposed to be extracted, but no. Your whiteheads are also closed comedones. That is, they are closed. Inside there is the clogging is inside. So they're supposed to be pierced with a needle and then extracted to create that opening. Whereas a blackhead, it's an open comedone. So it can be extracted directly. So if these two are not treated separately and somebody is trying to directly extract a closed comedone, they can create marks on your face. So always better if you're getting a steam and a cleanup, you better get it done at a dermatology clinic because they know the difference between a blackhead and a whitehead and they know how to treat which. The other things that can help in reducing your blackhead and whiteheads are certain retinoids, certain AHAs, cream-based, and in the form of peels. Both peels are again chemical peels that are procedures which a dermatologist will do on your face, which involves the application of a liquid solution on your face, which over a period of sessions helps you to resolve this issue. So whether cream-based or in the form of peel done by a dermatologist, these are some of the things that can help your blackheads.
Yes.
There are
Yes,
also a lot of those nose strips which are very famous right now. Nothing against it. You can definitely use it, but sometimes, again, these nose strips, because of their stickiness, have caused certain reactions. And I have got
Right.
patients who come back with a red nose to me because they used a nose strip. So, yes, if it's working for you, your blackheads, whiteheads are coming off well and good. But if you run into a reaction, make sure you see a dermatologist first to fix it and never to reuse it again because it's not for you.
Yes, that's absolutely right, because so these are common over-the-counter products, nose strips as well as face wax strips and things like that, and these can actually have adverse reactions on that area, and then you develop pigmentation issues as a result to the allergic reaction caused by it. So yeah, so I guess users have the answer for blackheads as of now. So we'll move on to the next question. So I would like to give a little bit context to this. So people usually have, so I've heard dermatologists say this. So you should aim for a healthy skin tone and not a fairer skin tone. So it's like know your skin tone kind of thing. So somebody asked whole body pigmentation. So any solution. So usually we've also had patients on Infine coming with treatments to make themselves look fairer, or to improvise the skin tone. So what would you say to that, doctor?
See, so what I would want to mention for once is that no matter what skin shade you are, whichever color, your skin will look very good and, like you said, healthy if it's just even. If it's one tone, it's well hydrated, you're drinking good water, there's a good amount of glow, it will look fantastic, no matter which color it is. So when people are coming in and saying that I want a fairness treatment or I have pigmentation on the full body, yes, maybe they do actually have a lot of pigmentation because they might have tanning or even just general amyloidosis or something else that is causing that pigmentation. But if you, like I previously mentioned, use sunscreen in the right quantities at the right times, that can be prevented. Now, if your skin tone is even, you will not really feel, see, fair skin, the fairer the skin, the harder it is to get tanned. A fair skin gets tanned a little slowly than a darker skin gets tanned. So the only problem in the slightly darker shades is that that uneven skin tone is seen very fast. Like, a little different color here, a little different color there. So you don't want that. As long as you have your own color in continuity everywhere, you are going to look fabulous. So just target a healthy skin, which is of course good amount of hydration. If your skin is replenished well with water, orally I'm saying, not just topical moisturizers, it will help you fight hyperpigmentation, whether it's in the form of sun exposure or some hormonal issue or anything. So make sure that you're drinking good amount of water, you're eating the right foods. I already mentioned the foods that can help your hair. Similar foods like vitamin C based foods and vitamin A, all of those will help you to keep your skin more healthy. So that is what is more important. There are treatments which can treat your skin if you have hyperpigmentation. Hyperpigmentation means itself, the word itself means that you have excess melanin, more than your natural skin color on certain areas. So we just need to treat that. We don't need to treat your actual skin color because, like I said, the moment you get even skin tone everywhere, it will look nice, it will glow, it will be radiant. And I think that will, in fact, I'll tell you, most people who come to me for treatment, and their first issue is that, I want a little fairer skin. I explain to them all of this, and I just make sure that I make their skin nice, glowy, and even toned with my treatments, with my creams, with addressing their diet, and they are very happy with the results. Most of them are.
Yes, doctor. Absolutely. I think we should start normalizing that, of people owning their skin tones as well as blemishes, spots on their skin a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, doctor, right now we are halfway in this session, and I would like to, for those who have just joined, I wanted to just ask, I just wanted to inform that this is MFine Live with the Kaya Skin Clinic. I'm Dr. Pragya, a primary physician at MFine, and we are with Dr. Preeti Kothari, the skin specialist as a dermatologist from the Kaya Skin Clinic. And we have already talked about acne scars, PIH, hair fall issues, as well as blackheads. And you, in case you have missed it, this video will be saved in later, and you can go back to the beginning and then look at what kinds of tips Dr. Preeti has given us. So moving on, in a little more of a generalized topic that everybody is asking is with respect to dry skin. So most of them are asking about what is the recommended moisturizer for dry skin, or what is the solution for dry skin given that even winter is here and everything.
Correct. Like I previously also mentioned, moisturization is not only important on the outside, but also consuming the right amount of water is very important to keep your skin hydrated. It needs to receive that amount of water and fluids from the inside. If you're just putting moisturizer and not drinking water all day, you will still find your skin to be dry. Make sure that you are having at least 6 to 8 big, nice glasses of water every day. By rule, you cannot compromise on that. Coming to the topical applications, moisturizers, of course, some skin are just not like I said, if you have a normal skin type, you may be fine with skipping your moisturizer or using it just once a day. But on a dry skin, make sure that you're using moisturizer at least twice a day. That is in the morning and in the night. If you have even way more dry skin, there are conditions like ichthyosis, which people mistaken for dry skin. If you have ichthyosis, you have to get it checked out. Your skin will just always be dry, too dry. In these cases, we sometimes also need 3 times to 4 times moisturization. So usually dry skin twice a day is good enough. Normal skin, you can skip moisturizer someday and change your routine in certain season with one-time applications, at least in your winters.
Right. That's absolutely right.
But
okay. And of course,
everybody needs to have water. Yes. Normal, yes. Dry, oily skin.
Yes, that would be one particular stress that we stress that throughout our live sessions, staying hydrated, because people don't remember to drink water. So okay, so we will move on to the other question about, so people are asking about under eye puffiness and how to get rid of dark circles. So we've come to one of the another dimension of hyperpigmentation issues, pigmentation disorders called dark circles, which is becoming more and more common. And up to 50 to 60% of software engineers who actually do not have sleep or have poor patterns or habits that are vigorously increasing their dark circles, such as continuous excessive screen time, eye strain, usually come up with these complaints. So, Doctor, what are the first things that we should do once we realize that we have under eye puffiness and dark circles? What do we do at home, and what would a dermatologist suggest?
So I would want to categorize this because there are just so many options. One category being the lifestyle changes, one being the creams and the medications that you're using, and then eventually coming to procedures that can be done. So coming to the lifestyle, like you also rightly mentioned, a lot of screen time nowadays has increased, especially with work from home, and even in general, technology is just becoming such a huge part of our lives. So screen time, stressing, not sleeping enough, having disturbed sleep, like even if you're having an 8-hour sleep, but it's very disturbed. You're waking up every 2-3 hours because of some other medical issue that you have. All of that will affect your dark circles. You will see them increasing in stress conditions, lack of sleep, and all of this. So if you have any of that, you have a work lifestyle or even a personal lifestyle that you are going out too much and coming back late every night. Once in a while it's fine, but you need to give your body a break. You cannot neglect your resting, and that will help you tremendously just itself to make sure that your dark circles are reducing and looking much better. Because even on certain days, you'll realize when you've had a good sleep, your dark circles will appear lesser just by 2-3 days of rest. So yes, your rest, sleep, stress, of course now it's difficult to tell people not to stress, but you must know that it does increase your dark circles. So as far as possible, do not stress. Try to keep your screen time as minimal as possible, because all of this is adding to your dark circles. Even the puffiness could be water retention and a lot of other, even genetics sometimes, a lot of other issues. So you have to see a dermatologist to actually get to the bottom of it, whether it's aging, whether it's something else, what is the reason. Okay, now that was about the lifestyle. Coming to the creams, now there are a lot of dark circle creams in the market. Now if I cannot sit and name all the dark circle creams, because like I said, something might suit somebody, something might not suit somebody. Top of my head, a lot of creams have arbutin, licorice extracts or kojic acid and all these active ingredients which help in reducing the pigmentation a little bit under your eyes. But if nothing is working, go see a dermatologist because she might give you an alternate. Coming to another thing that I want to just mention here, a lot of people have under eye hollowness. Now that is also adding to your dark circle. For example, if I just show you my hand like this, I've created a hollow here. But if I do make it straight, it looks fairer. So a lot of people also have a hollowness, that is they have deep inside of eyes. So because of that also the dark circles appear much more louder than they actually are. Like if you take your skin and stretch it out, they probably look lesser. In that case, your dark circle is not only because of the color issue over there. You might be sleeping right, everything might be fine. But if you have a deeper inset of eyes or a lot of hollowness under your eyes, that also can make your eye look, under eye area look more darker. Which is why now I'm going to move to the next thing, that is the procedures that can be done. Fillers are a very commonly known treatment for treating the under eye areas. And why are we doing fillers in the under eye area? Because if there is a hollowness, we just want to fill it up, bring it as much to the surface as possible to give good light reflection. Once the light is reflecting well, because of the lack of the hollowness over there, the dark circles will appear lesser. So fillers is, of course, if you have the hollowness and the anatomical issues for it. Other treatments like dark circle peels, like some chemical peels, can also be done to treat your dark circles.
Right, doctor. So I guess that would answer your questions about puffy eyes under the puffy under eyes as well as darkness under the eyes. And doctor, what would you think about cold compress? Does that help for under eye issues? Because most people seem to.
So it will be very short-lived, even if it does help. So you might feel nice for that evening or probably the next day, but it is not targeting the bigger issue, which is all the things that I've discussed. So it will be very short-lived. It's not going to give you a long-term relief, or you won't feel that, okay, I treated myself just by giving cold compresses.
Right, doctor. So I guess a lot of you who have just joined, we have covered about acne marks and dark circles, as well as pigmentation issues, PIH and everything. So we'll be moving on to other questions that are slightly different. So there is something about okay, somebody's asked for what is the best treatment for psoriasis?
Okay, now since this session is specifically for pigmentation issues, I think we should just psoriasis I could go pigmentation. So let's just
so,
be fair to
the audiences. You can the one who's asked about psoriasis, please do go through our timeline. Dr. Preeti has talked about psoriasis in one of our latest videos.
Video on the MFine timeline, so you can even refer to that.
Right, doctor. So there is how to deal with uneven body tone issue. This seems to be a very common question. Since we talked about uneven skin tone, most of them are asking about how to even skin tones, and then somebody has asked about how do I make my skin tone because they have a wedding coming in a few months or something. So in general, I think because most of them want their skin to look even without having spots and all of that. So what would be your, and some of them have asked also about skincare routine. So to put all of this together, what do you think would be a good skin routine or a good thing that a good habits that somebody has to inculcate to avoid uneven skin tones and pigmentation issues, doctor?
So again, on the body, the reasons for hyperpigmentation are different than on the face. Like for example, face can have something called as melasma, which is a hormonal and sun exposure issue. But on the body, there are different diagnoses that you hear. There's something called as amyloidosis. It could just be PIH because because of some inflammatory condition like a skin infection, which could have gone away and left that mark over there. So it is important to understand why that has happened. And in general, the pigmentation that people have, even because of sun exposure, first and foremost, I would like to talk in terms of skin routine. Hydration, very important, because like I said, it detoxifies your skin and helps you fight pigmentation. So if you're constantly getting new pigmentation on your skin, say for example because of sun exposure, then you're not doing anything to prevent that. If you're just treating and you keep getting new pigmentation, you will never really see the difference. So prevention is also important. So make sure of sun protection and hydration, which will basically help in prevention. That is getting a new pigment to form. Then we come to the treatment part of it, to use skin lightening agents, or these agents are basically in the forms of creams. So for your body, we want to buy lotions because they have easier spreadability. Now, what should these lotions contain? AHAs or alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acids, mandelic acid, lactic acid. Products which have this will help you to reduce body pigmentation. There are other products which have kojic acid, vitamin C serums, which also will help you to reduce body pigmentation. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's something called as amyloidosis and other skin conditions. If you have that and you're just thinking that it's just some other form of pigmentation and trying these products, it might not help you. So sometimes for body pigmentation also, we would need procedures. Now these procedures could be full body peels, like someone mentioned that there's a wedding coming up and all. So always remember, if you want faster results, first of all, nothing in skin is fast. You need a lot of patience, a lot of dedication, a lot of time to treat your skin. But of course, relatively fast. If you're only using a cream for 4 to 5 months versus you're using creams plus some form of procedure that a dermatologist is doing for you for 2 to 3 months. In that sense, you could speed up your treatment. So if you have some function coming up, a lot of procedures that could help is full body peel, because they are easy to do. You just have to, a dermatologist will just put a peel for you on all your concerned body parts, or at least the exposed body parts. And a few sessions will help. Again, these peels have a lot of chemical compounds, glycolic acid and lactic acid, and the ones that I mentioned before, trifluoroacetic acid. But the only difference between your cream and your peels is that they are in a different form of chemical activity over there, and the concentration is more. So we're treating it more aggressively, which is why you can expect faster results. Or the peels will also increase your cell turnover rate. So then it helps you to get rid of the pigmentation. So body-wise, that is a solution in terms of procedure. There's also something called as MDA, which is microderma abrasion, which also helps you to get rid of your dead cells and really helps a lot in reducing a lot of pigmentation. Of course, it should be combined with your skincare routine at home, which I've already mentioned. And then comes your Q-Switch India laser, which a lot of people know about. Commonly known by names like Helios and Spectra and such, but this is basically a 1064 nanometer Q-Switch machine, laser machine, which penetrates your skin, targets the melanin, that is the brown colored cell, which is causing pigment on your skin, and helps you to get rid of that. So that would be another treatment. Full body treatments with this laser are also done. So that is something else that could be considered.
Right, doctor. Right, doctor. Somebody had asked about Q-switch treatment, if it was really effective or not. I guess you had the answer there. So, pretty much, of course.
Yeah.
So, So somebody, in reference to a previous question, someone's asked, what is the longevity of the fillers for under eye hollows?
So usually, I would say 9 to 12 months, plus minus 1 or 2 months here. I mean, if you're very lucky, 13 months, maybe 8, 9, 10 months even, but around a year. Yeah.
Right.
So if you need to redo it, you can always just make a routine, like, I'm just to maintain yourself, you do your fillers once a year.
Right. Yes, doctor. So, coming to something that you had mentioned about melasma, there is a question. There are two questions that I would combine together since we are running out of time. So, Baba Erfana has asked, "Hi, I have hyperpigmentation on my face, which I got during pregnancy. It has been 2.5 years and yet to get rid of it. Now taking retinoid peels. What will that help?" And then there's another question about. So this is about. I think most pregnancy related issues. Stretch marks after pregnancy is also a question, but I think that would deal a little later. But yes, hyperpigmentation on the face, which they got during pregnancy, and steroid pigmentation is another question. So, doctor, what would you say for these two?
Okay. So coming to hyperpigmentation caused because of pregnancy, like I mentioned, a lot of your pigmentation can be hormonally related. Now, pregnancy, of course, puts a woman's body through so many hormonal changes that it can create something called as chloasma or melasma on your face. Most commonly, it appears on this area, on the cheeks. Mostly, it can appear other places also. And it's not only because of pregnancy or your hormones. A very big reason is also sun exposure. So coming to the treatment part of this, first and foremost, if you just had a delivery, there's physically nothing that you can do to change your hormones. Your body is going to take its course. But what is in your hand is the sun exposure. So sunscreen is very, very important if you have pregnancy related chloasma or melasma or any other, even a sun exposure related issue. So sun protection twice to thrice a day in good quantity. Make sure you're using more than half teaspoon for your face. Make sure it's a PA+++ and at least 30 SPF and above for Indian skin tone. Now, coming to the treatment part of it, I think the question was asked, the female had asked, it was doing retinoid peels, will it help? Yes, retinoid peels do help. Of course, you need a lot of sessions, so don't be impatient in 1 or 2 peels. Retinoids help beautifully in increasing your cell turnover and fighting against hyperpigmentation. So they will help. Again, different skin type might respond to different treatments. So a lot of topical creams in the market, hydroquinone based. Please do not use any treatments on your own. Make sure that you see a dermatologist for treating things like melasma and chloasma because these things are much deeper than your understanding. There are many layers to your skin and you will not realize how deep this is, how aggressive a cream can even be for your skin or a procedure can be for your skin. Retinoid peels and there are TCA peels, glycolic peels, which are the other options. And like we already discussed, Q-switch Nd:YAG laser is also an option. But make sure of sunscreen, one skin lightening agent maybe, and a procedure. These 3 things could be all of them, could be 2 of them. But sunscreen
yes, doctor. Yes, doctor. I think for those who are staying inside the house because of COVID, I guess people usually do not step out of the house, but then every time they step out, they forget.
I have got so many patients recently, Dr. Garpe. I didn't go out anywhere.
Right.
You mentioned that because I want to make it very clear that sunscreen you have to apply 365 days of the year. Whether you are at home or in your office or indoor or you're going out does not matter. Every day means every day. Sunlight is everywhere. Even in your room or in your house, there is little visibility in the day compared to the night when it's pitch dark in the absence of a tube light. But in the day, there's that slight visibility. Where is it coming from? It's from the rays of the sun. Every indoor environment will also have some rays. Even your blue light that comes from your screens, your sunscreens will even protect you from that. So whether you're going out or not doesn't matter. You should just make it a routine. 365 days of the year, every day I have to apply my sunscreen. Yes, if you're having a beach holiday, then you have to apply even more. Instead of those 2-3 times that I mentioned, apply probably every 2 hours. But that is basic for every day. Twice or thrice at least.
Yes, doctor. I guess now everybody has this thought now that they have to include sunscreen in their skincare routine daily, and of a sun protection factor or SPF of over 30 for the Indian skin. Doctor, I think we'll be stopping taking the any more queries, and whatever queries I have right now, I'll be dividing it into two. One being about hypopigmentation issue. So somebody has asked, I have little spots on the chin, little white spots on the chin, left and right side of my cheeks. Could you please let me know what can be the reason? And then there's somebody who's asking about a big white patch on the chest, and somebody has asked about albinism and vitiligo too. So, so on a broader perspective, how do we address vitiligo, white spots, and albinism?
Okay. So also the person who has spots on the cheek, they said hypopigmentation.
Hypo, yes, white mark.
Yeah. Okay, so just for the other viewers to differentiate, because we've been talking about pigmentation and we've used the word hyperpigmentation so many times, I would also want to just explain what is hypopigmentation. Hyper, first of all, like the word suggests, is more. So when you have more melanin, that is, if this is your skin color and you have a darker patch, there is more melanin over there, we're calling it hyperpigmentation. Then if there is lesser melanin over there than your rest of the skin tone, that is, it's slightly lighter than the rest of your skin tone, that is called hypopigmentation. That is, the melanin is less. Now there is also something called as depigmentation. There is zero melanin. It's white. The skin will look white, which is what these other people are asking. That is your vitiligo or your albinism. That is depigmented skin. That is no melanin in that particular area. So depigmented is no melanin. Hypo is lesser than your normal, and hyper is more than your normal. So having those definitions cleared out, now we're talking about hypopigmentation. Now, a lot of skin conditions can cause hypopigmentation, like P. alba. There's a skin infection called P. versicolor, which could also appear as hypopigmented patches. So maybe you just have one of those and you're thinking that it's just some melanin related issue. Yes, the melanin then has gone down less, but there is a reason. So it's these things are treatable, and you have to see a dermatologist. So why are you having hypopigmentation? Whether it's because of an infection or whether it's because of pre-vitiligo, wherein your skin is just going into vitiligo, that is depigmentation, or some other issue. Just like hyperpigmentation, there is also something called as post-inflammatory hypopigmentation. Because of some injury that has happened to the skin or some trauma that the skin has suffered, there could be a hypopigmented patch. There's something called as idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis, wherein hypopigmented patches will appear for no reason, not known to us. Aging spots. So without seeing the face, I can't really tell you why you have hypopigmentation, but these are some of the causes. Which one you exactly have, you will have to consult a dermatologist for. Coming to the treatment of hypopigmentation, tacrolimus, pimecrolimus, a lot of other molecules are useful in the treatment. For a lot of vitiligo patients, which is depigmentation, albinism patients. Now, albinism is something completely different. It is a genetic disorder, very difficult to treat or find a solution to. It is more preventive directed, like how to protect yourself. But in these skin conditions, it's must that you see a dermatologist and be in touch. It's not something that you're done with one visit and you're done. No, you are probably going to on and off for the rest of your life visit them. Unless some people have a very little form of vitiligo and it's in control for the last 10, 20 years, then it's fine. But otherwise, you have to be in constant touch so that every flare-up, every new patch could be treated with the right treatment. These conditions have a lot of vitiligo has a lot of treatments like NBUV light, and we can give them creams which they can apply and give it some morning sun exposure that can help, because like we know, sun exposure creates melanin. So now we have an issue where you don't have enough melanin. So these are some of the things: the sun, UVB light, your pigment producing creams, which I already mentioned, can help in treating these conditions. If you have an infection, we just need to give you a cream to treat the infection, and that itself will resolve the hypopigmentation. So like I said, first go to a dermatologist to know the cause, and then she or he can advise you rightfully which of these will work for you.
Right, doctor. Thank you so much for answering all these queries. Like, we've got a lot of queries, but unfortunately we can't cover everything. So let me just like summarize a wrap up of all of that we've discussed. So we've discussed about hyperpigmentation issues, dark circles, dark spots on the face, acne scars. We've also talked about under eye puffiness. We've also talked about hypopigmentation issues like vitiligo and albinism and white spots as such. And we've what I would like to and acanthosis nigricans. So what I would like to implore to the viewers is that please do take away the fact that hydration is extremely important. Sunscreen is extremely important in your skincare routine. And at the same point of time, please make sure that, so understand that the skin requires water as well as sunlight to function well, but you will need to protect yourself for hyperpigmentation, and sometimes you will need UV for the production of melanin on your skin. No matter what, please do not indulge in home remedies. Consult to a dermatologist on MFine. For those who have just joined now, we are ending the session in a while. Please do go back and this video will be saved on our IGTV, and you will be able to look at all the expert advice that Dr. Preeti Kothari has given us. So to conclude, I would like to say that please consult on MFine. Dr. Preeti Kothari is also available. The Kaya Skin Clinic, I would like to thank the Kaya Skin Clinic for giving us this opportunity to speak with Dr. Preeti Kothari on this live. Doctor, any end points that you would like to tell to our viewers right now?
Yeah, you pretty much well summarized it all. But like you said, yes, hydrate, sun protect, eat right, because diet is very important. Vitamin C for your pigmentation issues is important. Lifestyle is important. So sleep right, stress less, lesser screen time. And if you have any of these issues, see a dermatologist and get the right topical, procedural, and lifestyle-wise guidance that you need.
All right, doctor. Thank you so much for joining this live. We will be ending this session now. Thank you, viewers. Please, if you have any... Thank you, doctor. If you have any health concerns, if you have issues with respect to dermatological concerns as such, please do consult online on MFine from the comfort of your house. So we have a huge range of doctors who will be able to help you out with your concerns. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, doctor, again. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.